And look at my squad here today. I've got 1990 World Cup champion Jurgen Klinsmann and a trio of former U.S. men's national team players in Hercules Gomez, Jermaine Jones, and Casey Keller. Boys, the World Cup has started. Jurgen, thank you so much for letting us use your backyard.
You're more than welcome anytime.
When you're a World Cup champion, you get some stunning real estate. Guys, you feeling the World Cup fever?
Getting there.
Getting there.
Good opening match. It finally feels like we're at the World Cup, but I think we still need to feel it here. We need to feel it in LA.
You're not feeling the heat?
I can feel the heat. That I do feel. Black was a bad color.
Black was a bad color. All right. Well, as Herc said, there was a pretty good opening match indeed, and it was Mexico who went up against South Africa, and it was El Tri who managed to get a 2-0 win in the end. Raul Jimenez amongst the goal scorers, but nobody left unscathed because they saw not one, not even two, but 3 red cards in this one. Herc, it was entertaining.
It was very entertaining and almost a perfect evening for the Mexican national team. You come back to Estadio Azteca, the mythical stadium that saw Pelé lift the trophy, that saw Diego Armando Maradona lift the trophy, and now finally, this version of the Mexican national team with Javier Aguirre in his final dance, the last dance, is going to get a chance to prove what they can do, maybe make history, and it was almost perfect. You got Quiñones on the scoreboard, Brian Gutierrez was dangerous, Fidalgo was dangerous, you were in control for the majority of the match, and then 40-something minutes, a man up. You've got to put your foot on the accelerator. You got to put your foot on the throat. You got to take out the opponent. These goals, the differential could mean the difference of first place or second place in this expanded World Cup. They did not. They didn't do it with one-man advantage. They didn't do it with a two-man advantage. And worst case scenario was when you were in control, you're going to lose one of your better defenders for the next game. So almost a perfect evening for the Mexican national team, but a perfect way to start off this World Cup.
Perfect way to start off, right, Jurgen?
Absolutely. I mean, it's always tricky to start, the World Cup, to be the team that, the whole world is watching now, to kick it off. And you're nervous, you're anxious. You don't want to fail in that huge opportunity. And so all that really matters is get 3 points, somehow get 3 points. Now, obviously, if you're the home nation, then you want to convince already your fans early on that you're on the right track. They got the early goal and everything seemed to go in the right direction, but then they couldn't add the second one. They had to wait until obviously Raul Jimenez then added the second goal and with a beautiful goal as well. But those games are very tricky. For a home nation like Mexico, it's almost like you can only lose. Everybody expects you to get the 3 points and to have a convincing performance and to get everybody on your side. I think they are now really relieved. They are happy in the locker room. They got it out of the way. Get the 3 points, started well, and we're all happy because the World Cup finally kicked off.
Yeah, Jermaine, when you talk about the pressure, we talk about the pressure, and we'll continue talking about the pressure the USA will be facing here tomorrow to start. Well, Mexico did it. More of a sigh of relief that they needed.
Yeah, of course. Like Jürgen and Hercules already said, I think the first game is always the game where you try to get into the tournament. And we all know it's most of the time not the best or the beautiful game. It's more just about let's get in, let's try to get the win. And especially we all been to Azteca. We know how we can turn on you. So an early goal and then now, it's 2-0. You go home and you go back to the locker room and you say, the first game is done. Now focus on the next one, what comes. And I think similar like the US team here tomorrow. They're sitting right now in the hotel and say, let's go see how Mexico did it. We have our hometown and we play here at home and we have to get somehow that win.
Casey, you know that the Azteca is no easy way to play, especially for South Africa, but especially for Mexico being the home team. How'd you feel they did?
Well, I thought they started the match very brightly. They pressed well. They got their early goal, as Jurgen said. And then under Aguirre, they've been very conservative. And I think you saw that. They got their goal, and then there was this instant mentality of just dropping back and defending. And I think it got frustrating. I think the fans started to get frustrated. Then you had the advantages and the frustration that then they didn't see the flair that you expect from Mexico. But we've been seeing that for the last couple of years, that lack of winning is the only thing that matters. But the way they could have won, the way they could have really set the tone for that first match and to establish that leadership in the group.
Herc, as Casey was saying, bright start, but then they did drop off. The crowd started to get on them. We saw 3 cards in the game, of course, 2 being for South Africa. What do you think happened there? Tempers flaring, the occasion getting the better of them?
In terms of South Africa, I have no idea what got into them. These are plays you cannot allow to happen. It wasn't the opponent putting, one of them was, it was the opponent putting you in a very difficult situation. Brian Gutierrez, very good intentional touch in front of the defender. So he can only foul him. That's a very well-drawn play by the forward right there. The other one, you're coming across the face of Roberto Alvarado. The referee is 10 yards away from you. Jurgen and I were talking, you're in an era today where you have 50 cameras all pointed at you. You're not going to get away with it. It's a very silly foul. The third one on Cesar Montes, I don't think anybody here thinks that's a possible red card. I didn't think it was a possible red card. Very harshly done there for the Mexican player. But it was a very physical match. Maybe the nerves, like Jurgen said, are getting the best of these players. That could be it. I do want to say, I think there was massive calls here by Javier Aguirre, the Mexican national team coach. You saw some players who were on the field today that were nowhere near being a starter for the Mexican national team 4 or 5 months ago. Brian Gutierrez, he gets the start. Julian Quiñones, he was out of the picture. Leads the Saudi Pro League in goals. He gets the start. Eric Lira gets the start over your captain, Edson Alvarez. Big choice to make there. He went with Eric Lira. And then on the right back situation, which has really been an Achilles heel for the Mexican national team, Jorge Sanchez has gotten the last few starts. He just says, no, I'm going to go with Israel Reyes, a stay-at-home right back, and it worked perfectly. And you got Raul Jimenez. Jurgen mentioned this, a beautiful goal. This is his 4th World Cup, and he finally gets his start, and he finally gets his goal. I don't care if he's a rival or not. You can't help but feel good about Raul Jimenez and his story and what he's been able to achieve post his incident with David Luiz. It makes you feel good that he gets that feel-good moment at home in the World Cup in front of his people. Almost a perfect night for the Mexican national team.
If you have a look at Herc's arm right now and zoom in, he's got goosebumps. But really and truly, you're
a sunburn.
It's goosebumps because when we're talking about Raul Jimenez, there's so much emotion attached, Jurgen, especially with what he went through with that head injury as well, clawing his way back for club and now for country, getting that goal. How important was it for Mexico to see their top man, their superstar, get this?
Yeah, obviously extremely important for him personally to finally get this first goal in the World Cup. And knowing you running out of time, he's 35 now. Obviously, after what he went through, there's the whole nation behind him. And the whole nation feels with him. And I think also people outside of Mexico do feel with him. And so when a player like him then in the first game gets this opportunity, puts it in the back of the net, then you just simply feel happy. Happy for that kid, happy for that moment. And it makes the nation now feel good. It gives them, first and foremost, confidence. It gives Mexico confidence because you start with 3 points right away into the tournament. You are on home soil, where it's always difficult for the Mexican team playing at home because the expectations are always so high from the Mexican fans. They rather play in the US, then they're more relaxed here than they play in their own country because the people in Mexico, they expect more. They may expect them to score the first goal the first 20-25 minutes. If that does not happen, then they boo them. So no, it was a good feeling for them, good start for them, and now they can breathe a second and prepare really for the second game.
What Jurgen's talking about is so important because most of us are watching this game and there's a few comments like, okay, the crowd looks unnervy. The crowd looks like they may turn against them. They've got the pressure of el quinto partido, of never making it to that quarterfinal game. Now it's el sexto partido. To get there and on home soil, coming off one of the darkest periods in Mexican national team history where they finally don't go on to the next round in the 2022 World Cup under Tata Martino, it's a massive pressure cooker for this Mexican national team and these players who most of them don't have that experience.
You know what they needed? They needed a Colombian to score their first goal and an American to help set it up.
Oh, all right. Well, speaking of that,
Been there since he was 17. What a goal,
Colombian-born Mexican player, Quiñones, as Herc mentioned, scored the first goal. And this was the reaction at a Mexican watch party in Monterrey. And if you've never been to a Mexican party or partied with the Mexican fans, trust me, I dare you to find anyone that knows how to party better than they do. But as we said, this is exactly what we wanted to see all throughout the World Cup last time, even though Mexico underperformed, Herc. The fans really demand so much.
They do. And I understand the sentiment of you're coming off of your darkest period in your national team's history. Tata Martino left this program, I think, years behind. In Javier Aguirre, you have a national team coach who's known in Mexico as a bombero. That is a fireman. Literal translation. You bring in a fireman when the house is burning to save the house. That's what he's been in La Liga.